Hello. Hi, everyone. A very warm welcome. Why am I able to hear my voice back? Hi, everyone. A really warm welcome. I am Ria, and I'm really excited to have you. Whether you're joining as a student, on an parent, anybody who is curious about technology, I'm really happy you're here. And today we are going to take something that we almost every day look forward to and maybe understand it differently. That is Google Search. We use it, we actually trust it, and we don't depend on it. We actually refer to all of our information from Google itself. And today I want you to stop for a second and think about one simple question. What happens behind a Google search? And what happens once you actually press enter? Perfect. I am audible. Uh, because from the moment you type a question, you see an answer and an incredible amount of technology is working behind the scenes. Before we begin, just a quick introduction. I am Ria. I am a DevOps engineer, speaker, mentor, and trainer. And most of I do revolves around simplifying the technology and making it easier for me or for others to understand. Because once I was a child, I also wanted somebody to make technology human understandable for me because that was very complicated as a child. And I can totally relate to your problems because it's so vast, it has so many horizons to understand, but yet I believe it is very much impossible for us to understand because it is not simplified. That is what we'll be talking about today, that we are able to actually talk about a scenario that is a very common scenario and a relatable one for all of us, that is a Google search. So going forward, whether you understand about DNS, whether you understand about the servers or at the backend functionality, you don't have to worry because you are in the right place, and I'll be going forward making it familiar to you and easy to understand. Let's start with something really easy. Who searched something on Google today. You can actually drop your comments in the chat window, and I'll be happy to understand. Those who are honest, I really want all of you to drop your comments with a yes, or maybe I use today you're using as of now. You can comment down in the chat window. If you're watching this live, just raise your hand maybe, or put a yes in the chat window. I am pretty sure most of us would have done it, or maybe uh, are doing it right now. I can see that people are commenting. Maybe you searched for the weather, maybe you searched for the recipe, maybe you searched for directions, maybe you searched for something uh, for your assignment, for your holiday works, or maybe the best are available. So that is the search I am going to give you a demo about. Maybe think searched something in the night or in the day itself. But here's what fascinates me and would also fascinate you as well, that we type a few words, we press enter, and almost immediately we have an answer. So what happens in between? Did our laptop talk to the Google directly? Did Google have anything magical that appeared on your desktop or on your Windows? Or maybe some magic trick happens on your mobile phone screens, in browsers, using Chrome, you are using other browsers as well. How did the request travel across the internet? How did Google decide which result to show you? How was it relatable to you? How does all of this happen so quickly, just at a blink of an eye? That's the journey we are going to uncover today. And going forward, I would like to share my screen. I hope it is visible to all of you. And that's the journey we are going to uncover today. And instead of me simply telling you what happens, I want to actually show you a little bit of what happens behind the scenes. You can also parallelly try it with me, and that would be very interesting. Just a bit of disclaimer that I request everyone to join it from their laptops or maybe desktops and could parallelly follow me, or maybe follow the steps visible on the screen. You can just open any browser and type anything like I am typing best pizza near me, and just press enter and press F12 key on your keyboard and see the requests that are being generated. There are requests that are being generated on the screen, and we can see that. And you don't have to actually understand all these requests as of now. The important thing I want you to notice is a simple search is not a simple event. There are multiple systems communicating with each other that is actually giving you a simple answer you require. So let's slow down this process and understand what happens step by step. Let's start with imagining that you are searching for a pizza like I did. There are requests generated, and it is showing me the response very quickly. That is the one first thing that happens is very simple. Your device sends the request through the browser. Your phone or laptop is where the journey actually begins. And before we go further, let me give you a little perspective. How long do you think Google takes to respond to the search? A little guess would also work. Maybe drop your guesses. Wild guess is also welcome. There is no right or wrong answer. You can put that in the comments in the live. 2 seconds. Quickly. Okay. Actually, maybe you can see my screen. The response time is 0.2 to 0.5 seconds. That's faster than the blink of an eye. And that's the scale, the most fascinating one. There are 8.5 billion requests, searches per minute worldwide. That is what Google is processing every single day. So not talking about one person searching. There are multiple people searching worldwide. We are talking about million of searches happening continuously. But there is a problem. Your computer understands number faster than humans do. And that is where another segment of our slide walks into, that is DNS. If I'll tell you, for example, I'll tell you 142.250.0 or anything, any number. Would you remember that? The answer is probably no. But if I say that you have to type google.com or you have to access google.com, that is much easier. Simply, we have a contact details in our phone directory in our mobile phone. You associate your mother's number or maybe your friend's number with a name. You don't remember the digits. And that is where something DNS works in the simplest way. So here we are talking about DNS, which translates the human friendly name into an IP address so the browser knows where to connect, because that is the easiest way. On the backend side, it is connecting to the IP address, but what you remember is the just google.com. Does anyone know what DNS stands for? That's a question for you. You can comment down anything you know about DNS. What is the full form of DNS and what does DNS stands for? I am not going to give the right answers. You can drop your suggestions and your guesses in the chat window. We can take that at the end of the session to see who actually wins this and what DNS, what who has answered it the correct way. Okay, so our browser knows where it. This is the slide which is telling you how it connects to the IP address. But Google isn't sitting in our laptop. Obviously, we have our laptops, and Google is not present in our laptops. So, how does the request travel to us in the Google infrastructure? This slide talks about how the infrastructure takes place. It travels through the internet, through networks, through routers, and physical infrastructures. There are data centers available globally, worldwide, which are helping you maintain all of your information and giving at such quick seconds of responses. And here's something most people don't think: the internet isn't just floating around in the air. A huge amount of global internet traffic travels through physical infrastructure, through cables, through enormous distances, and those are maintained by Google itself. So the tiny search you type actually begins a journey through thousands of kilometers. There are thousands of servers which are working, which are generating all of your requests, and these requests are being maintained by the data centers itself. There are multiple copies which are available. Eventually, our request searches Google infrastructure. It is simply very interesting that our data centers are spread worldwide and Google is running non-stop even if the goes on. Because any data centers which goes null and void, even though your information does not stop, your information will be retrieved from any way or the other. Imagine a building filled with computers, not 10 computers, but hundreds, not hundreds, maybe thousands, and they are working together. They are kept on the data centers, which ensure that the result is reaching to you in like zero point 0.2 seconds. That's what we discussed. Anywhere on, on the globe, it is available worldwide. Why do you think Google needs thousands of server instead of one giant computer? Anybody can answer that. If you know why can't we maintain that using one computer? And why do we need thousands of computers? Anybody who has a guess about it? Okay. So that is because there are millions of people who are asking for questions at the same time. Imagine 10,000 people entering a restaurant through one door. What will happen? There will be a queue. Now imagine there are multiple doors and someone is redirecting them. There are easier way of getting inside that small restaurant. So multiple doors can create multiple responses, and that way traffic for the queues can be reduced. That's the basic idea behind distributing the traffic across servers. If multiple people are requesting all the responses, then that can be divided across the servers, that can be divided across the computers. Simply, you can understand that multiple people are generating requests, they are asking for responses. That traffic can be distributed, which would make the response much faster for the people who are the end users. So when you search something, the system isn't thinking that uh, we are should go to this blog, or maybe some cards request to go to this. There are multiple systems working together to handle requests efficiently. Once the request reaches Google's infrastructure, the system has to figure out which information is relevant. Google has enormous number of information, and that is processed as per the request and the queries and determines which results are more relevant. And remember, this entire process has to happen incredibly quick. Now, and finally, the answers comes back in like seconds. Google infrastructure sends the response back to the network, to your device, and suddenly there is a result. And for us, it feels like how quick, how instant is this coming? This is a magic sort of a thing, or maybe something we are talking about in like uh, milliseconds or seconds also. But the responses are so fast that every person sitting in the room would get the request at the same response time and would also try that the results are accurate. Now, where things get more interesting is when we understand the traditional and the AI searches which are available. For years, we have primarily interacted with engines by typing on the keyboards or receiving links. But today, we increasingly interact with AI, and it is giving you much, much faster responses. Traditional search generally gives you a list of websites. We click, we read, we compare, and we decide. But the AI has search has changed the way we do it. You give the command, you give the prompt, and instead of giving all the detailed information, you get a direct, summarized, and conversational response. It do not require multiple links, just like the traditional ones used to have. It does not require multiple articles to be gone through. You have to figure out which one is right, which one is wrong. Traditional AI searches depend on what you're typing. Which one do you prefer and why? You can actually tell in the comment window which one do you prefer and which one do you use in day-to-day activities? Because a lot of people today are relying on AI. But are you familiar enough that you are using the most of AI? So which one do you prefer, the traditional way or maybe the AI way? You can comment down in the chat window. And honestly, there is no single correct answer because everybody has a different use case to understand. Some people who works in their research work, they go through the articles, they understand multiple links and then generate their research papers. Whereas people looking out for very direct answers or maybe more concise and the contextual answers, they go the AI way. So if I'm searching something originally, I will go the traditional way. And if I'm trying to understand a complex concept, I will go the AI way. And that is where the difference actually becomes easier for us. Okay, we have traveled quite a distance. Let's see how much of your journey do you remember. And before proceeding, I would like to introduce Mentorship, where this AI integration part has been a core concept which they have solved. As a child, I have also always felt that these things should be made simple. They should be made easy to understand for a student, for a person who's working in the industry, rather than traditionally going through the context and the books which are written without any real-time experiences or any. So mentorship here has solved this problem, and they have integrated AI with their tutoring ways of interacting with people who are working in computer science background, people who are curious about understanding what happens behind the technology, children who are actually wanting to understand the real time scenario more than a bookish language, and also for the parents who want to inculcate good classroom experiences for their children with hands-on practices. So Mentor Shield has actually integrated all of these facilities over their website. They have free assessment available which you can go through, and you can actually take the most out of it, and you can book your sessions with them to understand how amazingly they have inculcated these practices and made this ecosystem a seamless experience for the children. Now, before digging into any further knowledge, I want to check all do you remember and how much you have understood about this session. So raise your hand if you have used ChatGPT or any another AI chatbot before. I am that person. I am raising my hand. I use it every day for work, my sessions, for my research work. I do it every day. And I believe a lot of people who have joined today would be doing the same. And I look forward to multiple responses from people who are joining as audience. That and have you ever chatted with ChatGPT, Gemini, or any AI assistant? What did you ask them? You can name the chat any AI agent you're using. I mostly use ChatGPT. I use Gemini. I also use Claude. So any AI assistant you use, I would love to understand which all do you use and what do you ask on your day-to-day basis. Coming to the next question, who has wondered how YouTube recommends videos for you? How do you think YouTube knows which one to see? Now, which video do you want to see? Any food bloggers video or any shopping haul or any of your technical videos or any of your psychological videos or any of the famous places which is going viral? How do you think YouTube actually recommends it? Comment down your understanding about the technology, and we'll understand how much do you understand and what goes behind the YouTube algorithms as well. And also, what do you think happens after you press enter on the Google search? This one you can answer, definitely. This one we have covered. What do you think happens after you enter on the Google search? Because this is what we have talked about. We have talked about data centers, DNS, and how IP addresses are linked. So this one I'm expecting everyone to know. This is a very interesting thing. Coming to the next part, which device sends your search request first? Think about it. Raise your hand if you know, or maybe comment down your answers. And what happens inside a data center when you search? Which device sends your request first? And what happens inside data center when you search? Your best guesses would be there in the chat window, and we'll take it there. I'll, ma'am, how can I join mentorship? I want to join. I'll take questions, just two, three more slides, and I'll take the questions from you. So the answer is your device, your own device, the phone or maybe your laptop sends the request via browser to the DNS server and then to Google. And What happens inside the data center when you search? Thousands of servers work together to find the best result, keep the data, and send it back to you in milliseconds. That is what we have discussed in the entire session today. That thousands of servers work together to generate your quickest and the best results you are seeing on your mobile phone or your any device, laptop, desktop, anything. The journey of your search is in the this is the concise and the summary of whatever we have talked about. That browsers connect to DNS, then they connect to routers, and they go to the undersea cables, they connect to data centers, then AI actually plays the role. This happens in like seconds. So this is what we have discussed about. This is the summary that multiple series of systems take place and all of the responses are coming in like zero point 0.4 to zero point 0.5 seconds. Thank you so much. I believe it was a wonderful session for all of you. Every website, every app, every AI tool, you can build it yourself. Any person can build it. Maybe one day you will be that person who will be doing it. So mentorship is helping all of those people to upscale themselves to understand technology in the most effective way and to actually connect with people who actually work and understand technology. They are not just iterating whatever the book is telling you to do, but they are practically implementing it and as well as to understand in the most simplest way. I recommend that you go to their platform, their website, and try to experience and take the sessions from them and make the most out of this website and this tool. All the best, guys. Coming to the question and answers, you can put through your question and answers, and I'll be taking them further. Somebody asked that, ma'am, how can I join Mentor Shield? I want to join. So you can go to their website. There is a book session available. You can request a session with them, or maybe go for a free assessment to evaluate yourself, and that is how you can get in touch with mentorship. Mentorship Shield is very good app about AI. Yes, definitely. The most interesting part I have understood is that they have tried to understand the gap between the education system and the traditional way of teaching people. Learners actually want the real time experience. They do not want the books to make them understand the traditional way of what and how do we do that. So I believe mentorship has actually solved that problem for a lot of people who are also curious for technology. They everybody requires the real time scenarios to be explained to them in the easiest way, and mentorship is doing that with the help of AI, and definitely that is a 24/7 working platform. You can collaborate with them and you can understand how amazingly they are making education easy for you. Thank you. Thank you so much for the session. Thank you everyone for joining and hope I made a small impact in your day to day understanding of technology and looking forward to making mentorship a great success for all of you. All the best, guys. Bye. Thank you.